Chapter 11. Outside the Mists at Last. You see, the mists are beginning to lighten up as we approach the boundary, Octavian pointed out cheerfully. Looking around, Kai could only shrug as the mist's density hadn't changed in his eyes. He was feeling tired. The group had been walking through a hidden trail for the last 4 hours without a break. His legs were sore as they crossed what seemed like another endless hill. While he was in excellent physical shape, the mountainous landscape pushed his body even with his increased stats. To his side, his brother looked bored, even throwing him a few venomous looks occasionally. Kai assumed it was because of the slow pace they were traveling due to his low level. "You never told me why you came," Kai called out to his brother, trying not to sound out of breath. "Father asked me to come and assist him in escorting you to the academy. The roads and wilds have been more dangerous than usual ever since the war began. Just 2 months ago, an entire town was wiped out. Officials still haven't figured out who caused it," Garen responded in an indifferent tone. "Besides, I'm being paid for this." "How many people were in that town?" Kai asked, concerned. He knew that even small towns should be able to defend themselves from common threats. "A little over 2,000, all dead in the span of a night. No one was aware until a traveler stumbled into the town a few days after. Most of the bodies were in states of decay, some eaten by monsters or scavengers. The chance that no one was able to escape and alert another town or authorities is troubling. Whatever ravaged that town must be very strong." Kai looked at his dad, who had a troubled expression on his face. During the last few weeks, he had gained a total of 6 levels since he unlocked his magic, including the 3 from the fight with the Vale Forest snake, and 3 from a dozen boars he had slain. The last level had taken 6 boars to level, proving they were no longer worth killing. Kai had been holding on to those 30 stat points, but chose to invest 15 attribute stats into vitality, 5 into strength, and 10 into intelligence right there. He knew such an insignificant increase in stats would only result in a false hope that wouldn't truly protect him from the monsters in the Ashbourne Kingdom. What he really needed was opportunity and time to grow. After a few minutes of silent walking, Kai called out to his father, "Is there anything I need to be aware of about the Ashbourne Academy?" "Garen?" his father questioned. "The Ashbourne Academy is the primary education system for young, newly awakened nobles. However, in recent years they have begun opening the school to the common rabble." Garen droned on, completely monotone. "They teach combat, magic, enchanting, and other subjects." "I already know this," Kai's brows furrowed. "Great. Then you know everything you need to know," Garen muttered before becoming silent once again. Kai couldn't help but roll his eyes. Turning to his father, he asked, "You attended school on Titan Prime. What was it like?" "Difficult. Imagine trying to stand out amongst tens of thousands of skilled individuals. But the education is second to none. If you're spending money on the Ashbourne Academy, why can't I go to school on Titan Prime as you did? The resources and education are bound to be so much better there," Kai argued. His father sighed with a troubled look. "That's exactly why, because they're better. It costs an exorbitant amount just to attend school there, not including the price of teleportation and other necessities. Even if the entire village pooled their money together, we probably wouldn't be able to afford the price of 1 year of tuition there. Perhaps I'm exaggerating. After all, people leave and return to the village all the time with money. But it doesn't help that we are a hidden village with almost no currency exchange or trade. Your mother and I have coin from our days before returning to Kitsune Village, but we use them sparingly. Regardless, many residents on Titan Prime send their children off-world for education. Why doesn't someone just make cheaper schools on Titan Prime? The opportunity they provide there can't be emulated anywhere else, in addition to a lot of other factors, and there are other cheaper schools on Titan Prime, but you want to join one of the 81 Prime Academies, a system of schools overseen by the ruling bodies of Titan Prime. And you went there?" "I did. An education that is second to none. Sounds like a place that can assist me in catching up to those of the past. Would it be possible for me to attend?" Kai tried to convey his seriousness. Stopping, his father's eyes seemed to gaze off into the mists. "There may be an opportunity, but I need certain assurances from you first." After a minute of silence, his father let out a sigh. "Let's make a deal. If you can win first place at the end-of-year tournament at the Ashbourne Academy for first years, I will somehow find a way to send you to school on Titan Prime. There isn't too much of a difference in the first-year education curriculum between schools anyways. It's all basic stuff." "Dad, I don't want you guys going broke if it means sending me to Titan Prime. He wasn't that much of an asshole to put his family in poverty to get a better education. Besides, the future was uncertain. He could very well still become powerful, even with the Ashbourne Academy's education program behind him. Relax, son. I know people who might want to sponsor you if you are able to have a good showing at the end-of-year tournament. Also, I might have made it sound more expensive than it is. It's not to the point where it is unseasonable. Sure, it's expensive for us, since your mother and I haven't had a proper income in 24 years. I believe there is something like 100,000 new students who attend the Prime Academies every year, perform well at the end of the year tournament, and I'll see to having you go to Titan Prime." Kai's eyes went wide. "Deal!" Garen scoffed. "But only if you get first place," his father reiterated. "Don't underestimate the students at the Ashbourne Academy. The people on Titan Prime might consider those who live on other planets to be inferior, but that isn't the case. There is solid talent all over the Myriad of Worlds." Kai's mood wasn't spoiled. He had actual combat experience, albeit with a different class and magic, but he had a better chance than his brother getting first place. "Even Garen didn't place first in his first-year tournament," stated his father, breaking Kai from his thoughts. Shocked, Kai spun around. What place did he receive? He couldn't help but ask, looking at Garen, whose eyebrow was twitching. "I think he got third place in his first and second year," recalled his father. "I only lost because they out-leveled me by over 30 levels, Garen spouted angrily. One of the few times he had displayed raw emotion to Kai. Obviously, he was still upset by his losses. "He did take first place in his third year, in his defense. You haven't been outside the Illusionary Mountain region yet, but those students at the Ashbourne Academy are going to consider you exactly what Titan Prime considers us, inferior because we aren't of noble heritage. Good luck," his father smiled mischievously. "What are my chances?" Kai asked, feeling nervous jitters. "Nope, I'm done talking about this for now. You either will flourish or wither under the pressure. Besides, we are coming out of the mists now." Kai had been so distracted in conversation that he didn't realize that the mist had actually lightened up. Walking past the edge of the mists, Kai could immediately feel a difference. The air had always been humid in the mists, but never overly hot. Outside of the mists, the air was less humid but significantly warmer. Looking straight across, Kai could see an entirely new world. Rolling hills, green fields, and trees covered most of what he could see. A town or city with tall walls stood near the edge of his vision in the far distance. "Welcome to the Ashbourne Kingdom. It's quite a forestry kingdom, rich in timber for a kingdom with the name Ash in it. That is, until you get closer to the capital. Then it's more depressing with darker tones," his father said. "Don't forget to look up." Looking up, Kai's eyes widened. Above him, he could see dozens of planets and moons. "I really am still in the Myriad of Worlds. I really was reborn here." Unshed tears threatened his eyes. Without anything to obscure his vision, he was seeing the Myriad of Worlds again for the first time in 16 long years. He had been told about the Myriad of Worlds growing up in Kitsune Village, but being unable to see it almost didn't make it seem real. At least until now, it genuinely felt like he was given a second chance. "Kai, look at that planet." Octavian pointed to the largest planet in sight. "That's Titan Prime. Every single planet, including the 2 suns, orbit around it. Even with an estimated 1,000 planets orbiting, none of them have ever crashed into each other, even though their orbits seem to be overlapping." Kai stared at Titan Prime. None of the other planets even came remotely close to its size. It was a planet that seemed to be made up of every color ever. It looked just like his memory, only larger. He guessed planet Eris's orbit was closer than New Earth to the Titan. "See that beige spot there on Titan Prime? That is a desert, larger than this entire planet. Oh, and over there." His father was now pointing at a different planet, one smaller than most. "That is New Earth, the planet the humans arrived on when they were brought to the Myriad of Worlds. Haven't been there myself, but I'm told it's a planet wrought in conflict. His eyes narrowed in on the small planet. It was where he was born, where he had fought and died. Now he was on another planet. It had been considered an impossibility during the days he lived. While humans had been brought to the Myriad of Worlds, there were no ways to leave New Earth while he had been alive. He would have to visit one day to see if he could find the answers that he sought. To the left of New Earth was one of the suns. Kai couldn't stare at it for long. The bright light hurt his eyes. It seemed only mildly larger than New Earth. The second sun was out of view, likely hidden behind the gigantic Titan Prime. How do the planets not crash into each other? Wouldn't the pull of gravity affect their orbits and slowly pull everything towards Titan Prime? Kai asked. His past life's father had suspicions, but any theoretical hypothesis had never been confirmed to his knowledge. I have no idea. You will have to ask the gods those questions. They are the ones who designed these worlds. Maybe your understanding of gravity isn't as knowledgeable as theirs, his father jested. The longer you stare at the sky, the more objects you will see. There will be more time to view the sky later. We need to get going. Our ride is getting impatient. Looking towards the path his father was walking, Kai had only just noticed a large wooden building, completely out of place, here on the boundary of the mists. Two humans sat in chairs outside on its porch. An older man with a grey beard lay motionless in his chair, eyes closed, likely asleep. The other was a woman of similar age. Her steady black eyes watched them the entire time they got closer. She stood in one fluid movement and bowed lightly to his father. Seeing that the older gentleman was still asleep, she turned to him and whacked him in the back of the head. "Wake up, you old fool! They're here!" Kai couldn't help but let a small laugh escape. Even Garen had a rare smile. "What the hell you are doing, woman?" the old man grumbled as he was violently woken up. His eyes shot open wide when he saw the group standing before him. Shooting out of his seat, he bowed deeper than the woman. "Captain, you're here. You were late, so I, fell asleep." He leaned his head towards the woman. "Why didn't you warn me?" he whispered loudly to the woman. Kai's father was silent, only raising an eyebrow in response. "Betrika, Stephen, this is my son Kai," Octavian introduced. "It's a pleasure to meet you, young Master Kai," they said together, each bowing lightly again, less so than to his father, he noticed. "It is a pleasure to meet you both." Kai lightly bowed as well. "Young Master." Kai looked to his father, one of his brows arched in curiosity. "They call our family that because we are the village chief's direct descendants. I've asked them to stop, but as you can see. In any case, these two are carriage drivers, employed by the village. That is their home behind them, and fenced in are their horses and other travel animals. They live here and drive those who require it to cities or towns in the Ashbourne Kingdom," his father stated. Interest piqued. Kai identified each of them. Human, forging level 100. Human. The woman was beyond his identify capabilities, but the man was at the very edge of it, only one level from entering the next stage. "Good evening, young Master Garen." They both bowed once again, only barely this time. Garen merely nodded in response. "All right, if everyone is ready, then let's get going."